Tennessee coming in having won 9 straight. Here's Natalie Lugo. We'll see the start here today for the Florida Gators. Yesterday it was Kelly Barnhill and Francesca. This will certainly be a test for Lugo here in day 2 of SEC play.
She's got a lot of responsibility on her shoulders right now. She has to come out and try to be as best as possible following that big loss yesterday. You know, you're going to see her really mix in her changeup. I think that's going to be key right now because of all that power Tennessee showcased yesterday. Lugo needs to use that changeup to kind of off-balance those balls.
And Lugo last year was more of a midweek starter for Coach Walton, and now that was a part of the preseason conversation for this team. Who is going to be the number 2 behind Kelly Barnhill? And in the non-conference, Natalie Lugo is certainly taking the reins as the second starter for this team.
And she's been doing so well in that spot, you know, putting up that 1.27 ERA, 65 strikeouts. So she's going to collect a few strikeouts here and there, predominantly from that changeup and occasionally with her rise ball as well.
81 degrees at first pitch, minimal wind, and here is Aubrey Leach to lead off, takes a strike, and we are underway at 1:02 p.m. Eastern Time. So north of 80 degrees today, and we'll be north of most likely 80 degrees tomorrow. Last night, Tennessee, a 9-1 win in run rule fashion, was the first home run rule loss for the Gators since 2004, only the 4th home run rule loss in program history. Here you take a look at Ralph Weekly, co-head coach for Tennessee, and Karen Weekly in that Tennessee dugout that had a lot of energy last night. 0-2 to Leach. And when you talk about some of the best hitters in the SEC, you have to mention Aubrey Leach, preseason All-American. Second active leader in walks in the NCAA behind Lorenz. Here she cuts and misses. Lugo one batter faced and picks up a strikeout.
It's the best way for Florida to start this game and getting some confidence with Lugo out there, going with her backdoor curveball, setting that up by using her changeup, and then getting the strikeout with the backdoor.
Now that brings in Amanda Ayala, getting the start in left field for Tennessee today. And that's the difference between Barnhill and Lugo. You have a little bit more of a spinny pitcher after Barnhill, and that kind of keeps the opponent off their heels in any given SEC series.
Well, we know Barnhill tops out at 70 miles per hour, and you know, we said that Lugo is going to be anywhere 64, 65 with a changeup that's around 55 miles per hour. So just that speed difference alone is going to have to slow the hands down of the Tennessee Falls and have to see that pitch go in a little bit deeper before they can trigger.
Ayala quickly down, 0-2. Waste pitch that time from Lugo. How about the start for Amanda Ayala? Has reached base in 19 straight games, was 1 for 3 yesterday. We mentioned Tennessee, they hit 4 home runs, now 23 on the season, hitting .374 as a team. Tennessee was picked in the preseason to finish 3rd in the SEC. The Gators have won the regular season title the last 4 years, and for them, they're trying to make a statement this weekend. Again, non-conference, that's kind of something you set aside. Once you get into SEC play, the competition certainly ramps up.
It's like a super regional every single weekend in SEC play.
Ayala strikes out. 2 batters faced, 2 Ks for Natalie Lugo. You can't get a better start.
And this is exactly the response Florida was looking for after the loss yesterday, going with her changeup that just falls off the table beautifully. If you're the batter, if you're Ayala, you see it coming in at your knees, and then that last minute drop with the off speed, you're swinging and missing all day.
Well, here is Kaylee Phillips, who is homered now in 4 straight games and rips a liner to left, has a base hit, and she is scorching hot right now for Tennessee. She's the first Vol to homer in 4 straight games since Madison Shipman, former National Player of the Year, did that in 2014.
I mean, I don't think there's any hotter hitter out there right now than Kaylee Phillips. Just taking the first pitch, and that's great aggressiveness from her after getting the 2 strikeouts from her teammates.
And yesterday, Kelly Barnhill had faced the minimum in the first inning. We mentioned off the top that Kelly was cruising with 7 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. And then the 4th inning, Volunteers had 5 runs, including 3 home runs in that 4th. Now that brings in Allie Shipman, who is the sister of Madison Shipman. It all comes full circle. The freshman catcher.
Madison Shipman, what a great athlete, great player that played for Tennessee Vols.
Allie Shipman right now on a 7-game hit streak. Has runs driven in 5 of her last 6 games. Quickly 0-2. Very good crowd here on this Saturday afternoon. Another waste pitch from Lugo, and it's 1-2. Lugo was 0-2 on 3 of the 4 batters in this inning. Now a 1-2 count to Shipman. A rocket liner, leaping catch by Adams, took away a base hit from Shipman, and that ends the inning. The defense on display from the Florida Gators mid-1 as Tennessee leaves 1. Gators coming up when we come back. Albert is inside the ballpark here today as we head to the bottom of the 1st. Good start from Natalie Lugo inside the circle for the Gators and for the Tennessee Volunteers. Here in game 2, second time they'll head towards Ashley Rogers, who comes in with a 5-0 mark and a 1.62 ERA. And Francesca, yesterday Rogers only lasted a third of an inning, was a fairly quick hook in that 1st.
And she's just a freshman getting that start in the big SEC matchup. And she did pretty well, but unable to really locate her pitches. You're predominantly going to see her go upstairs with her rise ball. When she gets 1 strike, you know she's going to come with that rise ball to try to get that swing and miss.
There you take a look at that bullpen. Nobody warming up yet for Ashley Rogers. Again, a big test, but that's one thing for a freshman, right? Start of SEC play. Tennessee started 5 freshmen. It takes a little bit to get that heartbeat under control.
And the Weeklies have always been known to pitch as a pitching staff. They normally don't ever ride one pitcher for a very long time. He wants to be able to use all of the arms that are in that bullpen.
Coach Walton trying to jumpstart this lineup. Lorenz back to the leadoff spot, facing Ashley Rogers. We saw yesterday and over the last few games, Hannah Adams as the leadoff batter for the Gators. Lorenz was hitting in the 3 spot yesterday, so Coach Walton trying to find different ways to maneuver that starting 9 to get this offense jump-started, and it has been a struggle over the last 6 games.
Well, he ideally would love to have Amanda Lorenz in that 3-hole because of how much power she provides, and she's such that clutch hitter. But at the same time, because she gets on base every single time, he kind of feels terrible if she's not in that leadoff hitter, and he gets the 3rd out with her on deck. Lorenz
has reached base last year in every single game. Was the first Gator to do that. Take a look at the last 6 games for the Gators offensively. They're hitting 184, 27 of 147 at the plate. They've not homered in the last 6 games. Lorenz cranks one in the air towards left. Ayala back towards the warning track, doesn't have a play, that's off the wall. Lorenz running all the way for 3, has a triple.
And that's one of the benefits of having Lorenz in that starting spot, top of the lineup, to get her team fueled, to be that spark plug. She absolutely crushes this ball a little underneath it, but because of that lefty spin, the ball continues to carry over Ayala's head in left field, and Ayala not able to get a good read on it. And because Lorenz was hustling out of the box, she finds herself at 3rd base.
For Lorenz, her first triple of the year, and that is one way to get it jump-started, moving Lorenz into that leadoff spot. Last night, Gators were 1 of 5 with runners in scoring position, only 1 of 11 with runners on. Here's Kendall Lindemann. That ball just had carry and carry towards that wall, and Ayala could not make a play. Lorenz just missing a home run. Would have been her 7th. Now Lindemann, a part of that lineup shuffling, is now in the 2 spot. We know the power that Lindemann possesses. 40 career home runs at Minnesota. Only has 2 as a Gator. It's one of those things you just feel like she's due for that power to kind of really come out in the orange and blue.
And that's the one thing, we have to make sure we mention that, Lindemann's honestly coming off that injury of fall energy, so she doesn't really feel that she is 100%. She does have a lot of power, but she has a simple, compact swing that when she is being very simple, she just automatically produces that power. So she's not someone who thinks home run, home run, home run. She's just trying to put pressure on the pitcher.
That prompts an early meeting as Ralph Weekly hops inside the circle. Do you think Francesca in this moment just trying to calm down the freshman Ashley Rogers?
That's exactly what he's doing. Ralph and Karen Weekly are known to make sure that they take a lot of their timeouts. He wants to make sure that he's talking to his freshmen, talking to the defense, understanding what the play is, if the ball's going to be a fly ball, a ground ball, just communicating.
So meeting adjourned. It's 2 balls and a strike here to Lindemann. Lindemann has reached in 23 straight games. Well, we saw yesterday Rogers get yanked after a third of an inning. There is no action inside that bullpen. But we saw Maddie Moss really come in and settle that game down yesterday. Was outstanding in relief in 4 2/3.
You can see the scouting report against Lindman right now. Rogers does not want to give her anything to get her hands extended. They are jamming her in. And Lindemann hasn't been able to kind of make that adjustment.
What is that adjustment needed for Lindemann on the kind of inner half pitches?
You have to see it earlier out. You need to get your hands committed earlier.
Yanks this to short, and that's snared by Osborne for the out. There's 1 away.
And that was the first time Rogers tested her with the pitch on the outside plate, and you could see Lindemann was out on her front foot trying to fish for that pitch. Completely out in front of it, still able to barrel it up enough because she was on plane, but that's an easy out for the balls.
Now it steps in Hannah Adams, moving down to the 3 spot in the order. We said she led off yesterday and over the last 2. Lorenz with the leadoff triple at third base. And Hannah Adams, somebody who seems like she's primed to have a big year in her sophomore campaign, a plus defender on the SEC all-freshman team last year. Adams last year did not commit 1 error at second base. She's the first Gator to do that. Her freshman season to come in and not have 1 error at that position at second is outstanding.
I mean, that's absolutely nuts. I mean, especially at second base, there's always going to be balls that might eat you up, but not even to have, let's say, a mental error with that.
This Tennessee team comes in with the nation's 7th ranking. They played 2 true road games this year. They're 2-0. They've won 9 straight games. And this is what you see a lot 1 through 9 is borderline pitches this team will not take. They will take their walks.
And that's why it was so impressive yesterday when Maddie Moss came in, really just moving the ball left and right. One side of the plate to the other side of the plate and getting the Gators to chase on it.
What was interesting about yesterday, too, is Moss came in with an absurd strikeout to walk ratio. She had two walks to 48 strikeouts. She had 3 walks yesterday, and now she pitched a stellar 4 2/3, but she had more walks yesterday in that game than she did all year leading in.
And that's bound to happen, especially when you know you're facing a team that takes a lot of walks, that takes a lot of pitches. But that's not her end goal, to try to not get walks, to try to get the batters out.
Adams pops this up. Here's Aubrey Leach on the infield. And there's 2 away. So Loren still staying put at third base. That's been the issue of late, is driving in runners in scoring position. You mentioned 1 of 5 last night. Did not have a ton of opportunities besides the first inning in game 1. The Gators had the bases loaded. Only were able to manufacture a bases loaded walk. Here's Dania Romanello back in the starting lineup.
And that's just such a key issue for the Gators, especially in that early inning yesterday. They had so many runners in scoring position. They had the momentum on their side. And when you're unable to continuously capitalize, you know, you feel like you're on the defense a lot.
Romanello quickly down 0-2. After Rogers gave up a leadoff triple, she's gotten a line out and a pop out to second base. Here's Romanello down in the count. She's 1 of her last 9, hitless in her last 3 games. Romanello down on strikes. How about that for the freshman Ashley Rogers? Gives up a leadoff triple. Then the Gators go down 1, 2, 3 after that. Through 1, we still have no score. Look who's in the ballpark here today. Alicia Ocasio, Gator great. Look at all the SEC rings. Was a part of a national championship in 2015 and was the do-everything player for this Florida group in her 4 years here in a Gator uniform, and a celebrity inside the ballpark today, Alicia Ocasio.
I know, what a fun player to watch when she was wearing that orange and blue. Pitcher, defender, hitter. She did pretty much everything out there.
Part of a lot of those, a few of those Women's College World Series appearances. Part of an SEC regular season title. This one's ripped in the air towards center field. Voss makes the grab. Ashley Morgan is retired. Ocasio was part of the 4 straight SEC regular season titles. And all the trips to OKC, including that national title in 2015. And that brings in Haley Bearden with 1 out. So far, so good for Natalie Lugo, and this Gator team needs that here today. And trying to solidify that spot that was left vacant by Alicia Ocasio. She's throwing first pitch strikes to now all 6 batters to the plate.
That was a good pitch right there from Lugo. That's a pitch that she wants to try to get called a strike. She's going to feel good if she can. But I like when she throws her changeup a little bit more early on in the count, especially, you know, some of these outs that she's getting. The balls are still barreling up pretty hard.
Time off speed, Bearden out in front.
And that's exactly what she needs to keep doing a little bit more of, is showing that off speed to get the balls on their front foot, keep them guessing more.
Meanwhile, Haley Bearden has hit in her last 3 games. Bearden drills this deep towards right field. No doubt about it. A home run for Haley Bearden. And for Tennessee, they're 5th in this series, and they have an early 1-0 lead.
I mean, Tennessee is seeing the ball so well right now. Before she hit that home run, she swung and missed and made this adjustment to scoot up in the box to try to get a hold of the pitch that's falling off the table, and that's exactly what she did. She gets this hanging changeup, that pitch that usually falls off the table the last minute, and just timed it up perfectly. Keeps her hands back and completely explodes with that lower half.
Bearden is now homered in 3 of her last 4 games, including the final 2 games of the Judy Garman Classic. And it has been a power display for Tennessee. Here's Gracie Osborne, drills this deep to center field, and it's gone. The Vols go back-to-back and have a 2-0 lead. My goodness.
I mean, they must be drinking something good in that water cooler with all of this power that they are displaying right now. This is unreal. I mean, we've said it before that Tennessee has not been known to be a very powerful team. They've always been known for their short game, putting pressure on the defense. But that is one thing that Karen Weekly's been focusing on this offseason, was to trying to use their legs more to gain more power. And they have just been showing it yesterday with all 4 home runs, and then 2 so far in this game.
Osborne, her first home run of the year. And after that, Elizabeth Hightower racing to the bullpen, and you can see the joy in that Tennessee dugout right now. Tennessee freshman in this series, Francesca, 7 of 14 with 4 home runs and 6 RBI. Incredible.
I know it really is, and you know, Tennessee, this class was, you know, one of the 2nd best recruiting classes in the country. And because they have such this high maturity level, even though they're freshmen, they feel just like veterans.
Osborne, first career home run, comes in Gainesville. Here you see Hightower warming up. Brings in Madison Piscini, the DP. Tennessee has an early 2-0 lead. We saw it took a while yesterday. It's not taken long for this Tennessee team here in Game 2. This is popped up. Reynoso, back of the bag, has the catch. Now there's 2 away. Brings in Kaelin Hannon, who last night had 4 of the 9 runs driven in. She herself had a 2-run home run, along with a 2-run single that allowed Tennessee to get into run rule territory yesterday. Ralph Weekly said post-game that Hannon is 5-tool player. She just does everything well. She's come off the bench primarily in her career. And prior to this series, Hannon only had a total of 7 at-bats. Yesterday has the 4 runs driven in, and of course that earns you more playing time. She's taken advantage of the repetitions that she's been able to get.
Especially, you know, we're still early on in the season. Yes, it's March. Yes, we started conference play, but both of these teams are still trying to figure out what that recipe for success is going to be. Who needs to be where in the lineup? Who needs to back behind who? Who's going to be the number 2 pitcher?
And here Hannon foul tips it into the glove, and that retires the side. But Tennessee, they go back-to-back at the top of the 2nd. First it was Haley Bearden, and then Gracie Osborne. It's been a home run party for the Vols here in this series, trying to take the series up 2 runs. Young Gator fan doing the chop here on this beautiful day at KSP. Beautiful day to be at the ballpark, out on the berm seating. Tennessee has a 2-0 lead. It's one way to take in a ball game, right, Francesca?
Lay out. You get to lay out on the grass, catch a good game.
Meanwhile, Tennessee, back-to-back home runs in that 2nd inning. Gators trying to get something going offensively. Their 1 hit coming from Amanda Lorenz was a leadoff triple, and then Rogers was able to settle in to get the next 3 batters down in order. I'm sure Ralph and Karen Weekly really liked kind of the fortitude they saw from Rogers in that 1st inning after giving up that leadoff triple, able to settle down, again, control that heartbeat.
Well, especially with the big win that they got yesterday, starting your freshman, hoping that, you know, she can get some of that veteran status underneath her belt. giving her more opportunities to feel more comfortable as the SEC conference play is going to continue to go on, and you're going to continue to face some really tough opponents, some really great lineups.
And in that pitching room, she has two veteran pitchers, Kaelin Arnold, of course, Maddie Moss, who pitched last night. And I'm sure those two have really helped Rogers in her progression.
Especially Maddie Moss, she's a senior, she's going to be graduating, so she's going to have to fill Rogers is going to have to fill Maddie Moss's shoes as she's going to graduate and leave.
Now here's Jordan Matthews, who's in a funk right now. Over the last 12, has struck out 8 times during that stretch. And there's strike 3. Matthews down looking. Second strikeout for Rogers, and there's one gone.
Rogers just using that outside corner. That ball starts on the very tip of the black part of the plate and continues to screw outside. Matthews thinks it's a ball all way, but that was just perfectly placed by the freshman. That's a big time pitch.
Here's Reynoso with one out. And that hits Sophia Reynoso, who is in the top 10 in terms of being hit by pitches in Florida history. She's 5th in hit by pitches. That's the 39th time she's been plunked. And I'm sure that's not something you really want to be top 5 in, but you'll take it.
Well, here's what's interesting. That pitch was the same exact pitch that struck out Jordan Matthews. But because Reynoso's on that right-hand side, she gets hit by that pitch and able to get her base.
Right now, the Gators will take base runners any way they can get them. And here's Jordan Roberts. He's flashed some power this year with 3 home runs.
I mean, I feel like one of the biggest surprising factors that we've seen in the game yesterday and today is just, not that much power in the Gators lineup right now. Not a lot of big hits. They're getting some base runners on, but no one's been able to come up with that clutch hit or even get something started. Maybe it's a hard hit line drive. Maybe it's a bunt. Just something to kickstart the offense.
Mentioned earlier, the Gators have not homered in the last 6 games. They only have 2 players with a hit streak coming into this game, Lindemann and Lorenz.
It just seems they're a little off offensively right now. They put a lot of work, a lot of practice in this week with hitting and defense. But I don't think they're right there yet.
And being a great hitter yourself, how do you get out of that? Is it more reps? Is it take a step back? I'm sure it changes between players, right?
I think it's both. I think right now, early on in the season, you need more reps. You need more time watching video. You need to figure out what really the issue is, what's the cause, and we're seeing the effects. So they need to figure out that adjustment early on before taking that step back, and then it gets too late.
Heavy swing from Roberts. It's now 2-2.
Sometimes when you're in a slump, you almost just have to swing your way out of it. Take rep after rep after rep before you find that good feeling again.
One stays high, now it's full. Gators are coming off that trip out west. They only hit 186 as a team, only scored 5 runs in the Judy Garman Classic. Played 3 top 25 teams out there. Had a couple of tests against UCLA, went 0-2 against the Bruins. Were able to beat Oregon and Washington. And that's how you get ready, right, for SEC play, playing teams like that. Seeing some action in the Tennessee bullpen. Kaelin Arnold is getting some warm-up tosses in. Roberts just got a piece.
Roberts got lucky there. That just tipped it enough that popped out of the catcher Shipman's glove. Got new life.
May have actually hit the home plate umpire Steve Gould as well.
That's got to be the toughest when it deflects off the bat just for a moment, and then the catcher's mitt. As an umpire, you don't really know which way to dodge.
Meanwhile, this is the 8th pitch of the at-bat for Jordan Roberts. Reynoso at first was hit by a pitch. Heavy swing and a miss. Roberts strikes out. A big K for Rogers. Her third of the day. Now there's 2 gone.
That's just another big-time pitch from Ashley Rogers. Going with this pitch that looks like it goes right down the middle, but she has the velocity behind it, and then that last second break upwards is why Matthews swings and misses on it.
That was on the 8th pitch of the AB, and here is Alex Voss. Gators now 1 of 15 with runners on base in this series. Voss yesterday just missed a home run. Had some warning track power yesterday. Hit her first career home run in the Bubbly Invitational. Gators played 6 games in a tournament before they went out west. Alex Voss, one of 3 captains on this team, along with Reynoso and Lorenz. Has such a great presence in that locker room for Coach Walton. Voss trying to snap a 0 for 15 slide. Again, Rogers trying to paint that outside corner to the lefty.
I mean, those first 2 pitches against Voss were pretty close, but because Voss has such a great eye, she didn't bait at it, and she's really challenging Rogers to come at her with something good. If I'm going to swing, it's got to be right down the middle.
That time, got the borderline pitch, 3-2.
And that's okay. That's not a pitch she wants to hit. That's that borderline pitch, 3-1. It's your count, so you're only thinking 1 pitch. But now with 2 strikes, she has to shorten up and kind of defend the bat.
40th pitch of the day for Rogers. It's a payoff. Popped up. Left side of the infield. Who has it? Gracie Osborne, the shortstop, makes the grab. And that ends the inning. The Gators get 1 on with a hit by pitch. Continue to struggle with runners on. And through 2, the Vols lead by 2. Tennessee a 2-0 lead. 2 home runs. They went back-to-back in the 2nd inning. Trying to take this series. See all the chairs out in the berm area. Kind of a new experience in this newly renovated park. You can walk all around this park kind of 360 style and still have your eye on the ball game. And certainly that's what a lot of fans are doing here today. Has some Tennessee orange out there as well.
I mean, it's like the perfect day to come to the ballpark. You know, what else do you have to do on a Saturday?
That's right. Maybe
that's what I think.
Some cotton candy, some popcorn, peanuts. Of course, that's the #1 choice. Here's Aubrey Leach, leadoff batter for Tennessee, takes a strike. Leach struck out in the 1st inning, part of back-to-back Ks for Lugo to begin the game. Meanwhile, for Tennessee, even though it's still early, they're looking for their first series win in Gainesville since 2007. And their first series win over the Gators overall since 2014. They swept the Gators that year in Knoxville. Leach pounds this in the air, deep towards right center field. Voss back, another home run. This time it's Aubrey Leach. Tennessee 3, Florida nothing.
I mean, wow. At this point, where it's getting to where who's not going to hit a home run for Tennessee. Every single athlete is seeing the ball so well. And this is off of Lugo's best pitch, her changeup. Another one she hangs out over the middle of the plate. And you don't have to do too much if you're Aubrey Leach. Just be on time, and that is what she does.
So now that brings in Elizabeth Hightower. And this is a Tennessee group, again, coming in. They were hitting .374 as a team, and you know it as a hitter. When you're locked in, you're locked in. And right now for the Volunteers, they're locked in 1 through 9.
I mean, especially when you're locked in, when you're not just hitting the ball hard, but every single one of your home runs are going dead center field, you know you're able to square it up, to see it out in front, and that's where all their hits have been.
They're not wall scrapers either. And Francesca, you take a look at that location on that Lugo pitch.
Well, you can even see where Kendall Lindman, the catcher, is trying to set up. She wants this pitch on the outside corner. You see the middle of her body is right on the black part, but this changeup floats back in the middle of the plate. And because Tennessee is so good, if anything's left over the middle of the plate, they're obviously showing that they're going to crush it.
Second home run of the year for Aubrey Leach. Now that brings in Elizabeth Hightower. Yesterday we saw Farley trying to come in and calm down the situation, the freshman for the Gators. Now it's another freshman today in Elizabeth Hightower.
Hightower, she has just such a tall presence out there in the circle. A little bit of a jerky motion, kind of going to try to get the timing off of Tennessee, but predominantly 65 miles per hour, rise curve, can showcase a change as well. But again, a freshman needs to make sure that she's smart with her location, especially because she's seen just how good Tennessee is if you make a mistake.
There you take a look at that Gator dugout and Coach Walton trying to find the right remedy right now. And now Hightower steps in, did not pitch out west in the Judy Garman Classic, so it's been a bit for Elizabeth Hightower. Last pitch on February 24th in relief against Syracuse.
And you know, I don't think that obviously when you think of Florida, you think that they're ever going to have an off year. But really when you think about it, they have a lot of young faces in the bullpen. Yeah, of course you have the senior superstar with Kelly Barnhill. Lugo, she's just a sophomore. And then behind her you have freshman. Katie Chronister is a sophomore. You have a lot of youth in there and a lot of girls that are still growing.
Ayala takes a pitch. Jenna Holcomb is at the plate right now for Amanda Ayala facing Hightower. So pinch hitter and Holcomb. This one's fouled back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hightower, the freshman from Monticello, Florida. And Holcomb strikes out. Hightower comes in, gets the K. And now there's 1 gone here in the 3rd.
That's a big K for Hightower out there, seeing her first batter, being able to strike her out, getting that confidence for that freshman.
And now that brings in Kaylee Phillips, and you can put Greg Maddox inside the circle right now. I don't think Phillips is going to be retired. She is scorching hot, singled in the first inning, has homered in the last 4 games, and in 6 of her last 15 at-bats.
Right now, Hightower, the first 2 pitches she's thrown to her have been placed very well. The first one being her screwball in the inside corner. That one missed exactly where it needs to miss, off the plate.
Exactly right. If you're going to miss, you got to miss in the right spot. This one's clubbed foul towards that Stacy Nelson Plaza, who threw out the first pitch yesterday. Stacy, program leader in strikeouts and shutouts. It's good to have her back at the ballpark yesterday.
I know, I think she's still here today, sitting actually in the offices up there.
That turns into a suite area in that left field corner, where all the coaches' offices are in that facility down the left field line.
Especially on a hot day like this, that's where you want to be.
And Phillips goes down swinging, so how about Hightower? It's rare to retire Phillips, but she does go down on strikes and back-to-back Ks for the freshman.
And she does so perfectly, being able to set Phillips up for that strikeout, going screw in on her hands, rise ball up over her head, and then using that off speed to get her chasing.
Brings in Allie Shipman, who lined out to Adams, who made a nice defensive play in the first inning. Shipman right now on a 7-game hit streak. He's made a seamless transition, just fitting in behind the plate as a freshman. See the bulk of the starts this year for Tennessee. Popped up. Is there a play for Lorenz? Racing towards the netting, reaches up and makes the play. A web gem from Amanda Lorenz up against the netting, and that ends the inning. Maybe the spark the Gators needed. What a play by the senior. Up against the netting, made the grab, and that retires the side. Here.
Welcome back, Tennessee up middle of the third, 3-0. How do you get out the hottest hitter Tennessee's lineup with Kaylee Phillips? Well, here we go. You got to start her off inside. You can't give her anything to get her hands extended. Screwball in, screwball again extended in. You go high and up, get her to chase, and then you go with the changeup off the table. Freshman Hightower sitting down, the hottest hitter in the Vols lineup.
There's Kaylee Phillips right there. So we said Hightower had to come in and settle down the game. She did just that, picked up a pair of strikeouts, and only faced 3 batters after Aubrey Leach had homered in that third. Here's a pinch hitter, Cheyenne Lindsay, batting in the 9th spot for Hannah Sipos. And maybe that Lorenz catch up against the netting, that spark that maybe the Gators needed, trying to turn defense and maybe fuse that over towards the offensive side. You see Lorenz there on deck.
You kind of feel some type of energy that's been elevated for Florida right now, just a little bit louder, the fans in it as well.
Check swing, Rogers outside the circle. Easy toss to first. 1 out.
You know, and Lindsay has so much speed that if she did not pause when she put that ball in play, I think she would have been safe at first base, but she almost surprised herself that she made contact with that changeup.
Here is Amanda Lorenz. Led off the game with a triple in the bottom of the first. Lorenz outstanding on offense and on defense, trying to negotiate with that netting down the left field line.
I mean, that is not an easy catch to make. You not only have to find the fence, find the netting, but you need to try to scoop up the ball before it even touches that net to get the out.
Lorenz also in that outfield a plus defender. Part of what is the second best group in the country in terms of fielding percentage. The best, Tennessee. Lorenz rips this towards right field, but the catch is made by Haley Bearden. Gave that a ride, but now there's 2 away.
I mean, if anything, that has been the hardest ball that Florida has hit so far this game. Even the triple that she had just underneath it, but this one was squared up. Maybe got a little too much of the top half, which is why it didn't take off with spin to kind of carry over, but still, these are the little things that the Gators need to try to build that momentum up.
Now it brings in Kendall Lindemann, 0 for 1, is lined out to short. Line drive off the glove of Phillips down the left field line. And Lindemann will extend that reach base streak at 24 straight. Looked like that almost went through the webbing of the glove of Phillips at third.
I mean, this ball was completely smoked, but because Lindemann kind of came out and around this pitch, it was almost like pulled foul. It wasn't pulled foul, but it was pulling and tailing away from Phillips. And that's why Phillips wasn't able to square it up and get it into the webbing. It looked like it was going to come into Phillips' chest, but because she came out and around it, it went off the tip of the glove.
That's why they call it the hot corner, right? You're not going to get balls hit much harder than that in your direction.
Yeah, you know, as a third baseman with righty pull power hitters, that's not a position I want to play. I would don the face mask. I'd be that girl.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm right behind you on that. You see all the time, too, Coach Walton, he stands out there at the third base coach's box, and he's, in this series, been standing more towards the dugout, talking with Coach Eric Thomas. He used to coach with Tennessee baseball in his career, coming over to be on Coach Walton's staff last year. And teammates at Oklahoma.
And knowing these two guys, I mean, they're talking strategy, they're talking hitting. They know that they're not their best offensively right now, and they want to see what it is that they're seeing from the Gators, what it is that they're doing. Are they too out on their front foot? Are their hands sliding when they're taking their stride? What is happening with their power?
Now Rogers is down 3-0. Adams taking all the way, 3-1. After yesterday, Rogers only going a third of an inning. He's gone 2 2/3. You take a look at Karen Weekly that handles his pitching staff. There's ball 4. Adams draws a walk. First time on base today. The Gators have 2 on here with 2 out.
And these are just the little things that the Gators need. You know, you get that lucky break by hitting that ball hard from Kendall, getting on first base. Then you get the walk from the freshman.
There's a visit. Karen Weekly heading inside the circle. We did see Kaelin Arnold getting warm in that bullpen earlier, and she's continuing to stir. Don't think that Rogers will come out yet. This most likely just a conversation, again, to calm down Rogers in this moment, first and second and 2 outs. I'm sure part of that conversation is you already have 2. You just need one more to get out of this inning.
And exactly. She's been doing so well this game. The last thing Coach Weekly wants to do is pull that freshman off, pull her out of some confidence boosters right here. But still just kind of bringing her down and telling her, hey, we got to get this out right here. We struck out Danielle before. Just keep pitching your plane. Stay within yourself.
So now it brings Romanello to the plate. It was 1 of her last 10. Did not play last night in the series opener. And the Gators were run ruled here at home for the first time since 2004. Big moment in this game.
And there's still a lot of game yet left, and I know Tennessee keeps hitting home run after home run after home run, and Florida's almost trying to match that, but just get a single. Put a bunt down. Do something to try to at least get 1 run across the board.
That time off speed, outer half. Rogers has been mixing her pitches nicely and painting the quarters as Romanello down 0-2. Swing and a miss. Romanello strikes out. Rogers is fired up. Why not? As Tennessee is in firm command, they lead by 3 through 3 here at KSP. We head to the top of the 4th inning. Tennessee a 3-run lead. Some defensive changes. Teresa Swertfager now at third. Only her 3rd game played this year. Coach Walton, again, trying to find some personnel that can get the job done. Meanwhile, Cheyenne Lindsay, who pinch hit in the last inning, is moving out towards right field. So Swertfager's not seen a ton of time, and here she is, game 2 against Tennessee. And there you see Lindsay out in right field. Meanwhile, for Tennessee, the story has been the long ball. They've hit now 7 in this series. They went back-to-back in the 2nd. Had a leadoff home run in the 3rd from Aubrey Leach. Ashley Morgan will lead it off for Tennessee. Francesca, what did you see from Hightower? Came in after that leadoff home run to Leach in relief of Lugo. Had strikeout, and then a fly out to left.
Well, I think she's doing the one thing that Gator pitchers haven't been able to do and just get quick outs.
Soft line drive back up the middle into center field. Morgan first hit of the day.
And because she's so tall, she kind of has that herky-jerky start. It's hard to get your timing off of her. She throws the ball pretty firm. And so after going from Natalie Lugo, who's a little bit slower with that spin, then you have someone who's very tall and kind of comes after you.
Now it's Haley Bearden. Got this home run party started today. Soft pop fly, shallow right center. It's danger. Voss in, makes the diving catch. How about the defense from the Gator outfield here today? What a play by Alex Voss.
I mean, their pitchers are struggling to get Tennessee out. Florida's struggling to get some hits, but their defense has been on point. Voss is playing in deep, and this ball is hit fairly shallow. She has a beat on it the entire time. Almost didn't catch it, but just a great job laying out to scoop up that out.
You have the web gem from Lorenz that ended that third inning up against the netting. And Alex Voss in center field going a long way to make that catch.
And those are just continuous confidence boosters, continuous things that have to try to get some momentum on Florida that they need to carry over.
Osbron pops it up. This a bit easier for Lindsay. 2 outs. Nice little response here from Hightower after giving up that leadoff single. Now it's up to Madison Piscini. Tennessee 3 runs on 5 hits. Gators last year only lost 1 SEC series. That was a series in mid-March against Georgia, where they were actually run ruled in game 2 of that series, 11-1. Came back, won 10 of the next 11. Hightower trying to find her 3rd strikeout. Inside corner, strike 3. Piscini down looking. An 8-pitch inning for Elizabeth Hightower. Works around a leadoff single. And the Gators using some outstanding defense in the top of the 4th through mid-4. Tennessee still leads by 3. After only going a third of an inning yesterday, Ashley Rogers has settled in nicely. Francesca with 4 strikeouts so far.
You know, she's getting those 4 strikeouts by being able to use that upspin, getting with that rise ball. Her screwball has that last-minute break as well, so the Gators aren't able to decide, am I supposed to swing at this one or am I supposed to take it? So leaving a lot of the Gators stunned and not sure what to do with it.
Gators threatened in that bottom of the 3rd inning, had 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, but Rogers reared back, got the strikeout of Romanello to end that inning. Now here's Jordan Matthews, one of the 4 strikeout victims. She's 0 for 1.
I think the biggest thing with Ashley Rogers is that, you know, you look at a scouting report and you're just thinking rise, rise, rise. She doesn't normally throw a changeup, but she's been throwing that changeup very often, but also locating her screwball so well.
This is rope foul. Jolene Henderson, the first base coach, had to do a nice little dance out of the way of that one. That's on the heels of our conversation last inning about Coach Walton standing in the third base coach's box. Get dangerous out there.
I know he used to always choose to wear a helmet
in
that coaching's box because too many of these pull happy hitters.
I'd be wearing full catcher's gear. That's just me. Matthews sends it in the air deep towards right center, but playable for Treasury Poindexter's come in to play in right. And there's one away. Now that brings in Sofia Reynoso. Reynoso was hit by a pitch in the 2nd. Top 5 all-time at the University of Florida and being plunked. And you talk about, we mentioned the fielding percentages before, kind of the anchor of that infield is Sophia Reynoso. You can't find a better middle infield tandem than what Reynoso and Adams provide for this team at shortstop and second. Pops it up and playable. Here's Leach in foul ground. Has the quick second out.
I mean, both of these defensive teams do a great job of making these special plays look routine. I mean, you said it. Tennessee's #1 in the country. Florida's #2. You know, especially when you're down a lot like Florida is, they need to make sure they're coming up with some good defensive plays. And then Tennessee, on the other hand, they just need to continue to give support to their pitcher.
Tennessee, their left side of the infield, both freshmen. Chelsea Segern out, officially with an injury, as Roberts lines this to left as the Gators' third hit. Trying to get something going here with 2 outs.
And because Rogers' screwball is just on point today, the lefties are having a hard time squaring it up because it's screwing away from their barrels, and then the righties are having a hard time getting their hands extended on it. Even on that hit from Roberts, that it's a jam job, but she's able to get her hands just enough extended to fall in for a single.
Meanwhile, Lily Mann coming to pinch run at first base. Again, the Gators trying to manufacture something here with 2 outs. It's up to Alex Voss. We've seen Rogers make big pitch after big pitch in this start. Tennessee last year started SEC play. They were swept by South Carolina. Began the year 30-1, had a ranking at one point of 2nd in the country. So they last year had to take a bit of a step back at the start of SEC play. Voss lifts it towards left center field. Ranging back is Hannon, makes the catch on the run, and that ends the inning. So Rogers again gets the outs when she needs them. Through 4, Tennessee in command, up by 3. Fans enjoying the game from the grass berm seating, trying to get the Gators to rally here at KSB. Trail Tennessee 3-0 as we head to the top of the 5th inning. It's been another home run party for this Volunteer team. They've launched 3 over the fence, including back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning. Tennessee, once again, this seems like they're in firm command. Florida offensively still trying to search for something. Right now, Tennessee trying to pad that lead, create some more insurance as we head towards the later innings. Here's Kaelin Hannon, had 4 runs driven in last night, has struck out. All-time series between these two, Florida still has the strong edge with 50 wins to 27 losses. After last night's loss, they're 27-7 here at KSB against Tennessee. Gators last year had beaten the Volunteers in the SEC tournament. That was a run rule win, was 10-2 for the Gators. Florida eventually went on to win the SEC tournament, beating South Carolina in the tournament final.
And Tennessee was just a completely different team last year. Obviously, you know, it's a completely new year, but at the same time, they faced a lot of injuries. They had 5 athletes, 5 starters get taken out of their lineup. Maddie Moss was struggling with a sickness all throughout the entire year, so they feel very strong this year.
Hannon foul tips that one into the glove. She's been down on strikes twice in Hightower. That's her 4th strikeout, and there's one away.
Hightower, exactly what the Gators needed, a pitcher to try to shut this offense down and able to get this strikeout with her screwball. So we have 2 freshmen whose screwballs are just working perfectly for them today.
Here's Aubrey Leach, pops this one towards foul ground. Reynoso didn't have enough of a jump to get it. Mentioned before, a new left side of the infield with Swertfager now playing 3rd for Sipos. Leach, one of 2 captains on this Tennessee team, along with Chelsea Segern. will not play in this series.
You know, going into this series, you know, you thought not having Chelsea Segrin in the lineup, that could be a huge reason why Florida's going to win. That's such a potent batter, such a great defender, but with the way this offense is working, they don't even need her right now.
Showcasing that depth. Tennessee last year had fallen in the super regional round to Georgia. You had a chance too to do their regional games last year. It's a program with a lot of history and the expectation, just like Florida, to win a national championship.
And what's crazy to me is that this would be one of the first senior classes that could graduate without going to the Women's College World Series for Tennessee. So this is they have a big monkey on their back right now saying that, hey, we need to at least get there. This is why I came to Tennessee, because I want to win a national championship, but they haven't even gotten there yet.
7 all-time trips to OKC for Tennessee, last in 2015. Leach takes strike 3 in her half, doesn't like the call, and Hightower, big smile for her. There's 2 away. Now 5 strikeouts for Elizabeth Hightower.
Just a lot of movement on that pitch. Leach did not think it was a strike. I think it was a little bit too in, but either way, the call was made.
Here's Jenna Holcomb, who pinch hit in that 2 spot in the 3rd inning. Well, Lugo, if you're just joining us, in her start for Florida, only 2 innings. 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks and 3 strikeouts, 31 pitches. Lugo was yanked after Leach led off the 3rd inning with the home run. All 3 runs driven in on solo shots for Tennessee. Hightower now looking for number 6 as a 1-2 count, trying to strike out the side. Check swing flare over Reynoso for a base hit. Excuse me hit for Jenna Holcomb the opposite way.
And Holcomb just read her defense perfectly there. She is a slapper, very short to the ball. So the shortstop Reynoso was pinched over in that 5-6 hole. She was basically playing in the 5-6 hole. So even though that ball wasn't hit well, Holcomb saw where the defenders were, and she put it where they weren't.
Now that brings in Kaylee Phillips, who we mentioned has homered in 4 straight games and was the 2nd strikeout victim of Hightower. Homered twice last night. Holcomb at first has speed. Here's ball 1. Take a look at Phillips in this series. A lot of power. 2 last night.
And no one's seeing the ball as well as Phillips right now. And she's not even really having to do too much with her swing. She's just on time with everything.
Now hitting .343, has 19 runs driven in this year. This one will stay in the ballpark for Lorenz, who jogs in and has it, and that ends the inning. So Hightower works around a 2-out single. Gators trying to get the bats going mid-5, trail by 3. Bottom of the 5th. This beautiful afternoon at KSP, game 2 of 3. Tennessee with a 3-0 lead, trying to take this series. Would be their first series win in Gainesville since 2007. For the Gators, it's 9-1-2, trying to get it started. Fans just waiting for something to cheer about right now. And as a former player, Francesca, in that dugout, what do you kind of try to say to your team going through these offensive lulls? Do you say anything to inspire at all, to try to get something jump started?
Definitely. You're really trying to just say something, do something, get a little crazy, maybe get that next level up. You got to do something different to shake up that mojo, to get your team out of this groove, out of the funk.
See the corner infielders creeping about nearly halfway down the lines for Cheyenne Lindsay. Lindsay grounded back to Rogers in her first AB.
Lindsay's known for her speed. She is a freshman. She was going to come into Florida to be that leadoff hitter, but suffering an ACL injury in the fall. So she's trying to get herself back, not completely healthy yet. But Coach Walton understanding that he needs to put someone else in that lineup to shorten up the swing and try to put some pressure on the defense, and that's why Lindsay's in here right now.
Seen Lindsay in right field, played some third base in that bubbly invitational. Now it's 1-2.
It's one of the hardest things when you're coming back from an injury, especially mid-season, is you haven't seen a lot of pitching. You haven't seen a lot of live pitching. It's completely different than front toss.
Strike three, Lindsay down looking. Rogers again paints the outside corner. There's one out.
Rogers is feeling so good again with her screwball mixture with the rise. The pitch before that Lindsay swung through was the rise ball, and this time getting her caught with the bat on her shoulder with the screw. Those two pitches spin are so similar, so it's so hard to decide if you need to swing or not.
Now 5 strikeouts for Ashley Rogers. Here's Amanda Lorenz as one of the 3 Gator hits with a triple in the first inning. The Gators left her stranded at the doorstep. Well, Florida can get something going offensively. This is the portion of the lineup to do it, with Lorenz Lindemann standing on deck. I mentioned, of course, Rogers pitching in both of these games, and I was talking to Coach Walton yesterday before the game, and he had said that we've seen a lot of Arnold, we've seen a lot of Moss, but we don't really know a lot about Ashley Rogers, and I'm sure that's part of the game plan of having her pitch in both games, is don't really have a beat on her yet.
And also just trying to get her some experience with that freshman, just the start of the SEC play. So she has a lot of growing to do, but she's really growing in front of our eyes right now by pitching so well in this game against Florida.
That's ball 4. The career leader in walks at the University of Florida has drawn a free pass and given the Gators a 1-out base runner for Kendall Lindemann. So Lorenz has been on base twice today. Now it's up to Lindemann, who you mentioned earlier dealt with that preseason injury in fall camp before transferring over in the Minnesota fall camp. Dealt with a meniscus tear. So part of her offseason has been rehabbing that injury. Right now stuck at 2 homers and 15 RBI.
Just seems consistently for the Gators, their timely hitting is just not there. They haven't been able to make anything happen when someone's been on base, whether it's been from, a miss hit or a walk. No one's really following up behind each other. And a big part is because of Rogers being able to use that screwball, use that inside corner for righties and that outside corner for the lefties. No one's able to square much up.
That's what I was just going to say is, besides maybe the Lorenz line out to right, there really hasn't been anything barreled up yet for Florida. This one will get out of play.
And even these pitches that you're seeing Lindemann foul off, she's getting them fisted. She's getting them off the closer to the knob of the bat, unable to get anything extended. And even in her last at-bat, when she got that single, it was the first pitch that was outside, and Lindemann was out around it.
Lorenz takes off. This heads towards the backstop. A wild pitch for Ashley Rogers. Sets the Gators up with the runner in scoring position. Florida's been 0 of 4 at the plate with runners in scoring position today. 0 of 7 with runners on. And now Karen Weekly is out. We have seen Kaelin Arnold warming up for Tennessee. There's a 1-2 count, so most likely won't come in mid-batter. Just another one of those calming conversations from Karen Weekly, who has that calming presence.
Yeah, especially as the crowd started getting into it, trying to rattle the freshman out of there. But, I mean, she's proven to be tough. She's been pitching herself out a lot of tough situations so far. I don't see this one shaking her up quite yet.
Gators have left 5 on base today. In the air towards left. Holcomb over on a dive, can't make the play. Almost had it on a dive and foul ground. And almost adding to that list of outstanding defensive outfield plays we've seen. Just popped out of the glove at the last second.
Yeah, that one was just couldn't extend that last moment out. Kind of go right off the tip of the glove.
One-two. Lindemann sends it in the air towards left, has carry. Holcomb back on the warning track. The park holds it. Lorenz stays at second. Now there's 2 outs. Gator fans rising out of their seat on that one. Warning track power for Lindemann on that swing.
I mean, that was, again, another screwball that Lindemann is unable to get her hands through. So that just shows how well this pitch is working for Ashley Rogers. She's pitched it pitch after pitch after pitch, and the adjustment couldn't be made.
Now it's up to Hannah Adams. Once again with 2 outs after Lorenz drew a 1-out walk. Moved down to second on a wild pitch. Adams has reached once today, came in the 3rd inning with the walk. She's 0 for 1, popped out to second in the 1st. Last year for Hannah Adams, hit .276 at the plate, led the team in at-bats. For most of the year was the leadoff hitter. Started all 67 games a year ago. It's now 2-2. We have not seen Ashley Rogers get flustered today. Has remained confident throughout. Adams lifts this towards center field. Hannon back in front of the warning track, makes the catch, and once again the park holds it. So the Gators strand a 1-out base runner, and Rogers once again stands tall to the task. Through 5, Tennessee. For a second straight day, Tennessee right now with a 3-0 lead, and once again using the power. And earlier this time starting in the 2nd inning, they went back-to-back.
It started off right there with Haley Bearden getting them started with that home run with the changeup, and then coming back with Grace Osborne right down the middle, center field, just crushed it.
And Aubrey Leach tacked on one more to lead off the third inning, so that has been Tennessee's offensive production so far. If it's 7 home runs in this series, it'll be Allie Shipman to lead it off. She's 0 for 2. Elizabeth Hightower came in after that Leach home run in the third. She's picked up 5 strikeouts and has allowed only 2 base runners.
I know it's fun seeing these freshman pitchers come in and be effective with all the seniority on both sides. You wouldn't think that the freshmen would be stealing the show.
Popped up, Lindemann. Does she have a play? She does. There's one out. And to put that into perspective, Francesca, how hard is it to make that transition as a freshman, especially in the SEC?
Oh, it's extremely tough. I mean, you're going up against hitters that can not only make adjustments after each at bat, but make adjustments in the middle of a swing. And I used to always think that I can never lose to a freshman.
Ashley Morgan pops this up. Another lazy pop fly, this time towards Reynoso. 2 up and 2 down.
When you're an experienced hitter, experienced batter, you always know that freshmen tend to make mistakes. So I always had this mentality if we were losing to a freshman, thinking we're going to get it back. There's going to be a mistake given up by her and we're going to capitalize. But we haven't seen many from either of these two today.
Here's Treasury Poindexter, fouls it off. So hitting in the 6th spot for Haley Bearden, who homered today in the 2nd inning.
Let's talk about all the depth that Tennessee has, and the Weekly's understanding that you have a pitcher that's throwing hard, unable to get squared up, so they bring in Holcomb for Ayala and Poindexter, who are lefty slappers, to try to put pressure on the defense and shorten up their bats.
Hightower trying to throw up another 0. 1-2, swing and a miss. Poindexter strikes out. Another 8-pitch inning, 2nd of the day for Hightower. And again, the Gators trying to get something going offensively. Mid-6, Tennessee leads 3-0. Bottom of the 6th, Tennessee leads by a 3-0 score. Gators have left 6 on base. Big reason why, the strikeout pitch from Ashley Rogers.
Ashley Rogers just really surprising Florida out there, using her screwball, using her rise ball, but locating the pitches so well that Florida does not know when to swing and when not to swing. The freshman coming up big today so far.
Ashley Rogers seeing the start here today, her 8th start of the year. Came in 5-0 with a 1.62 ERA. And that is trimmed down to 1.43. Here's Brittany Allen pinch hitting in the 4th spot for Danielle Romanello, who is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Takes ball 1. This crowd trying to do its part. Near capacity crowd here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Allen drew a game-winning, bases-loaded walk against number 5 Washington in the top of the 8th inning. That gave the Gators the win over number 5 Washington. And you see that dugout just trying to find ways to get it rolling offensively. Saw yesterday Lily Mann in that dugout had about 4 visors stacked up. Everybody has their own superstition in that dugout.
I think it was about 9, actually.
9?
Yeah, like it was pretty impressive.
It might have been 8 because they needed 8 runs in that moment.
We should probably get the final count.
That was our thought from director-producer Mike Griffin. That's 1 right now. That pitch just misses. It was in for a strike, 2-2. Weak hack and a miss. Allen strikes out. So Arnold, we showed you the strikeout package before, now has 6 Ks on the day.
And that one just surprised Allen. She basically swung when the ball was in the catcher Shipman's glove. Just showing again how great and tight that spin is.
Well, here's Matthews 0 for 2. Matthews over last 14 at the plate. He's had 9 strikeouts in that stretch. Sure, she's thinking in this moment that she's due. Of course, Matthews had one of the more iconic swings in program history last year. Game 3 of the Super Regionals against Texas A&M. A walk-off 3-run home run to send the Gators to their 9th Women's College World Series in the last 11 years. And in that moment, Matthews was down to her final strike. Gators were down to their final out in that 7th inning.
I mean, a moment like that just can always give you that confidence of I can get a hit ball there. I can get it done anywhere.
Goes fishing here. Another strikeout for Rogers, and she is in command. 7 Ks and 2 gone.
This time going downstairs with a drop ball almost spin. Everything you've been seeing from her has been waist high, elevated, and then she gets something down, and so Jordan thinks that she should swing at it, but kind of halvesies on it. Rogers just mixing her pitches beautifully.
Now Reynoso stands in, takes ball 1.
And that's one of the most frustrating things as a hitter is when, you're locked in on one zone, one look of where you think the pitch is going to be, and then when that pitcher that you're unable to get hits off of changes it and you continue to struggle on her. Kind of just throw your hands up and think, what's the adjustment need to be?
Gators have manufactured a base runner in every inning. Still nothing across. Reynoso lines that to third, and the Gators go down 1-2-3. First 1-2-3 inning for Ashley Rogers, and she is getting better as the game goes along. As we head to the final frame here in Gainesville, Tennessee trying to take the series. Hightower back inside the circle as we head to the final inning. Tennessee a 3-0 lead, all of their runs on solo home runs. Hightower came in second batter in the 3rd inning, and she's thrown up all zeros in 4 innings, only allowing 2 hits. She's thrown 44 pitches and has been a bright spot for this Gator team, but the offense once again has not arrived to the party here in Game 2, and Tennessee trying to take this series. Here's Gracie Osborne as one of those 3 ball home runs, her first career home run. We'll take a look back to that 2nd inning blast from the Vol shortstop.
And Osborne just taking advantage of a rise ball that didn't move anywhere, just stayed right down the middle, slightly elevated, almost just like a BP pitch.
And that was the common theme with all of the home runs, right? Thigh high, missing your spots. And this Volunteer team, we said it coming in, they're not going to make many mistakes at the plate. If you make mistakes, they'll knock it out of the park.
And exactly. Even the home run that was given off or by Bearden and Leach, those were changeups that were left hanging. And at any time you talk about a team struggling, a team that has, national championship caliber, you do want them to struggle early on in the season so they can figure out what they need to do, what's the remedy to get themselves out of there.
And that's the thing about these seasons, whether it's softball, baseball, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. I said it yesterday. No one wins a national championship in February. No one wins it in March. So you continue to build up on your strengths. If you're Tennessee, you have some offensive power. How do you continue to roll with that with the season?
Osborne, pop fly, Reynoso out. Has the catch, 1 out.
And if you're Florida right now, you're thinking, hey, I got a freshman out there who's doing a really great job, and she's earning herself some more innings.
Meanwhile, pinch hitter coming in for Tennessee, Tiana Batts. Will pinch hit for Madison Piscini, who finishes up 0 for 2. Tiana Batts has played in 14 games this year. Started the season 6 of 11 at the plate.
Again, just bringing in another lefty to try to shorten up, since none of their righty power hitters or lefty power hitters have been able to see the spin off of Hightower. So you hope that slapper can kind of punch something in.
We've seen a heavy portion of lefties in this Tennessee lineup. 5 lefties to start the game.
I always felt that Tennessee favored the lefties.
Yeah.
They've always had a pretty lefty-dominant lineup.
Count now 1 and 2. Hightower north of 50 pitches. Bounce towards Adams. Throws to first for the out. Meanwhile, Hightower looking for her second straight 1-2-3 inning. And if you're looking ahead for the Gators, it will be 7, 8, and 9 due to the plate. Down by 3 runs right now. Hannon trying to change that. Sends it in the air towards center. Boss, easy play. Hightower outstanding in relief for the Gator freshman. She's come in and done her job. Gator bats trying to do theirs. Last chance for the orange and blue. Trail by 3. Bottom of the 7th. Last chance for the Florida Gators. She's feeling a rally out there on the berm. Going to stand up and cheer the Florida Gators. Have manufactured 3 hits, but no runs. It'll be Jordan Roberts to lead it off for the Florida Gators against Ashley Rogers. Trying to go the distance. Has been in the driver's seat all afternoon long. Only 3 hits allowed in 6 innings. Has thrown 97 pitches in this start and has 7 strikeouts to 2 walks. Roberts has 1 hit today.
I like the idea of Rogers starting the first pitch off with a changeup. You know the intensity's high, the crowd is into it, and then you throw the floater, hoping for a swing and miss, but it's a good way to try to slow that pace down.
Comes with the velocity on pitch number 2. 1-1.
And that's a pitch as a batter, you can't let that pitch go. That pitch was down the middle. That's what you're looking on. And you're already struggling trying to lay off that rise ball that you can't let the one down the middle go.
His pitch number 100. Back to the off speed again. Here Roberts in this moment, if you wonder what she's thinking in the box, you see off speed, velocity back to off speed.
And you're probably thinking she needs a strike right now, so she's going to go with her bread and butter, I would guess, would be the screwball. So get your hands extended quick.
Foul tipped into the glove. Rogers are ready with 7 strikeouts. 2-2. Count full.
You see Roberts just made an adjustment in the box by trying to get in the back of the batter's box, let that rise ball go. And that's usually the best adjustment to make off a rise ball. You either get in the back of the batter's box so you don't swing at it, or you get in the front and try to swing at it before it rises.
Another good at-bat from Roberts today. Had an 8-pitch at-bat in the second, ended in a strikeout. 3-2. In the air towards left field. Holcomb in, and there's one out. Now it's up to Alex Voss. And these two teams will do it again tomorrow. A noon first pitch for Game 3 of this series. That'll be on the SEC network. Voss 0 for 2. And last night, Tennessee picked up their first win in Gainesville since 2013. Now trying to find their first series win in Gainesville since 2007. Just missed.
That was back when you had the old Monica Abbott on the mound there. That lefty, still throwing it.
Two and two. For the Gators, this would be the first time this year that they would lose consecutive games. If they can't come back, need 3 runs here in this 7th. Right now, Jamie Hoover stands on deck, would pinch hit in the 9 spot for Coach Walton. Pitch 110 from Rogers. Count full.
And these Gators have been working the at-bats. They've been getting to full counts every time, but still cannot capitalize on that big pitch, that big hit. They're still kind of guessing out there, unsure of the movement of Rogers' spin.
Fly ball towards left. Holcomb in again. Has the grab, and the Gators are down to their final out. It'll be Jamie Hoover stepping to the plate. As Rogers has retired the last 7 that have stepped in.
And a good majority of the outs from the Gators have all been lazy pop-ups or fly balls. You know, we've said they haven't been able to square anything up, but they're really getting underneath everything that Rogers is throwing, and that's because of that upward spin.
So now it's up to Jamie Hoover. Hoover 0 for 2 last night with 2 strikeouts. There's strike 1. Rogers has 3 complete games this year. Well, if Hoover gets on, then you turn the lineup over to Amanda Lorenz on deck. Well, for the Gators, held to only 3 hits today. Tennessee, again, the story, their power. 3 home runs. 2 of those coming in the second inning, back-to-back. They have a total of 6 hits here in game 2. And now Florida down to their final strike. That Tennessee dugout can sense it. Ball fans that have made the trip on their feet behind the dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hoover. Just gets a piece.
You kind of sense that the shortstop, Gracie Osborne, was feeling that they're so close to the win, called timeout to talk to the freshman Rogers when she fell behind Hoover, thinking, hey, this still staying within yourself. You got this.
Pop fly towards first, and that'll land foul. Morgan had a long run. Shipman came out as well, but Hoover will have another opportunity.
I mean, Rogers has just been throwing gas this entire game. Still, you see Hoover, all these foul tips that she's having, she's still getting jammed, still barrel being behind the ball.
Two. Bouncing ball towards short. Osborne, rhythmic toss, ball game. Tennessee takes the series, their first series win in Gainesville since 2007, and they shut out the Gators by a 3-0 score.
I mean, absolutely great job from Tennessee being able to come in Florida's home field and completely shut them down game 1, and then game 2 carrying over that momentum, that home run power, showcasing it early, but really Ashley Rogers in the circle, the freshman coming up big and keeping her team in it the entire time.
4th complete game for Ashley Rogers, who was dominant in stretches, 7 strikeouts today, and Tennessee has taken the first 2 in this series. Again, once again doing it with the long ball, 3 home runs, and the series finale coming up tomorrow at noon. So Tennessee once again wins it by a 3-0 score. We'll have game 3 of this series coming up noon. That will be on the SEC Network. So for our entire crew, Francesca and Nea, I'm Kyle Crooks saying so long and good night from Gainesville.